might. Survivors of darkness, we're ready to fight. This is our stand in a world so cold. We are the stories that will never be told. In the chaos we find our might. Survivors of darkness, we're ready to fight. For when the silence falls, we'll still be here. In the end of all things, we conquer fear. For when the silence falls, we'll still be here. In the end of all things, we conquer fear. Oh yeah, we will conquer fear. Oh yeah, oh yeah. In the shadows where the lost ones crawl, echoes of despair and chilling call. Fire burns in the ashes of our fate. Whispers of the fallen, it's far too late. When the skies bleed red, we will fade away. This is our stand in a world so cold. We are the stories that will never be told. In the chaos we find our might. Survivors of darkness, we're ready to fight. Oh yeah. With shattered dreams and a heart of stone, we rise from the wreckage, we stand alone. The end is near, but we refuse to yield. Our spirit ignites, a battle revealed from the depths of night. We reclaim the day. This is our stand in a world so cold. We are the stories that will never be told. In the chaos we find our might. Survivors of darkness, we're ready to fight. For when the silence falls, we'll still be here. In the end of all things, we conquer fear. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Good morning, my beautiful, beautiful Appalachian rum monkeys. Oh, my wonderful, wonderful little group of survivors. You prep monkeys. You wonderful, tasty coconuts. So how are you all? How you doing, Ron? How you doing, Nightmare? How you doing, Freaky? How you doing, Adnir? How's all my family doing? There's things. That's better than nothing, right, Freaky? I mean, that's a part of survival. Still having the ability to wake up and continue on. I'm not saying to be John Rambo or anything. Like, the thing is we are talking about how to make and what is the essentials of making a survival bag? What is the purpose of having something to rely on? Why can't I stay at home? Why do preppers and survivalists look at the world is ending tomorrow? Why? And it's not, it has been bastardized over the years. It really started, the word prepper started in the 1920s. You know, it could go back to, it can go back to the Civil War. You know, after the Civil War, preppers became a thing, like carpetbaggers, you know. Yes and no, Freaky. A bag is controversial, you know. Like, okay, a bag can be pretty much anything that is used to hold something. It could be a reusable bag. It doesn't have to be a 511, you know, it doesn't have to be a 511 3-day warrior pack. Yes, you can start a survival box. You can do a survival cache system. There's plenty of preppers and survivalists and everything that take that take paint buckets, or the Home Depot buckets, and they fill it up with supplies and everything. They make a a O-ring seal on it, and they bury it in specific areas around where they live, and they leave it there in the ground in wooded areas, and they go back and find it because, like we've said, right? Well, there's hundreds of things that you can do that doesn't have to really require to be a survival bag. Doesn't have to be survival anything. Well, they call it like a cache. You put an E on the end of it, and you know it, it, it's a unit of storage. Like a hidden cache. Yeah, yeah, it does. It's yeah, a lot of survivalists and everything are not too good with etiquette. So you have a lot of Southerners and everything that don't really know etiquette that well. So they end up screwing up a lot of words. Um, the thing though about like caches and stuff like that, going and hiding a a 5-gallon bucket with food and stuff in it. The thing is the world changes all the time. Hey, it's okay. It's okay, Freaky. I know they're Southern Canadians. It's okay. But the bad thing is people don't really rely on caches anymore. Yeah, everything changes. So you may have buried 20, 5-gallon buckets. Earth erodes. You know, roads change, construction happens. You could have planted something 5 or 10 years, 5 or 6 years ago, and you could have planted something 5 or 6 years ago. Damn it, cat! Cat knocked my coffee over. Get out! Get out now! Out! You pissed me off. Sorry. My cats, they don't know how to stop. Yeah, no, it wanted to drink my coffee. And I went to go grab it, and when I grabbed it, it smacked my cup and knocked it over. And uh, today's just been a bad day. But um, but the thing is, a lot of people, they don't realize and they don't remember 90% of the places that they put these caches. You know, that's the one thing you don't want to do as a prepper or a survivalist. You don't want to put your stuff to where somebody else can find it. Yep, yep, yep. And the floor is the floorboard of my SUV. Wonderful, right? Um, you really don't want to ever be away from your stuff. You don't want to put your stuff in an area that can be, contaminated, that can be found by somebody else, that can be, discovered. Right, right, freaky. You end up forgetting. And that's the thing. It's not like you can mark it on a map. You can mark wherever it is, because even a topo map, you really can't say, "Oh, this is the area that I planted that," because unless you know the coordinates and everything like that, you're never going to be in that area again. Uh, but I've seen people make survival bags and survival kits out of toolboxes. I've seen people make, you know, there's one prepper that I know and everything. He has a whole entire Milwaukee uh, tower toolbox that he carries, and he puts it in the back of his car, and he puts it in the back of his truck and everything, and ties it down. He does construction and everything, so he has it hidden within his other tools. But I'm like, what if somebody steals your stuff? You work in some shady areas sometimes. If they don't see you taking that toolbox out of your truck and everything and using it, people will steal that out of the back of your truck. There's I've even done, videos and live streams and everything of making a survival kit out of a children's backpack. You know, you have that like a pretty pink butterfly backpack or something like that. For one, if you do get into a survival situation and everything, and you do have to put that bag down, if it's pink and colorful, you're going to see it in the middle of the woods. And two, if you want to keep it in your car, nobody's going to steal a children's book bag. It serves no purpose to them because they think it's a children's book bag and there's nothing that's going to be worth anything in it. Correct. Yeah, and we've talked about that too. There's certain everybody has medical problems. You it it's hard to discuss every problem. You know what I mean? And it's just like being deaf or blind in a survival situation. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was gonna say too, Adnir. Because school shootings, stuff like that. Children need to be protected. They are children's book bags are getting more protective now. You know, right? It's you can do a roundabout talk about everything in survival. We talk all the time about you know skills and what to do and all this stuff, but like we've had this discussion multiple times about people don't want to recognize the truth. People don't want to see the reality in survival situations outside of actual survival. Everybody thinks that they can just jump on Amazon, buy a $10 survival kit, and be good for the rest of their life. And if you look at every single one of those survival kits that's on there, unless you're paying high money for it, every single one of them have the exact same things: a cheap Chinese knife, a flashlight, a few windproof, waterproof matches, some rope, maybe one or two SOS bars, maybe 6 packs of filtered water, and that's it. Praying and survival is a constant upkeep. Nobody ever wants to talk about the stress. Nobody ever wants to talk about the time and the effort that it goes into prepping and survival. You know, somebody thinks that they watched seasons 1 through 5 of Bear Grylls, thinks that they can go out into the woods and live. No, unless you have, unless you literally went out and trained with those skills. Hey, what's up, John? How you doing, brother? People believe they can do whatever. But, you know, Good morning, brother. Good morning. We as humans, we don't want to take reality into effect. And when I talk about making a survival bag, I don't tell you what to put in it. I give you examples of what to put in it. But I don't tell you, oh, you need this knife. Oh, you need this. You need this 7-inch fixed knife from Ozark Trail. You know, you need a fixed blade knife or whatever. I mean, Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls was a military man. Everything in his history was real. The man was a man, but he sold his soul to the devil, which is Gerber and Discovery Channel. He sold his soul to make the most interesting, controversial, and entertaining platform. Right. You know, you could take a $5 Pakistani and pocket knife and survive with it. But the thing is people, we judge Bear Grylls so much, but you have to realize that he did his stuff. Hey, human, how you doing? We can't bash Bear Grylls all the time. It's pointless to bash him because we knew he was talking a lot of shit. Yeah, that's where the whole entire thing. Two is one. One is none. You always have two forms of everything in your bag. It is called redundancy. It's better if you have more than one, especially in immediate need cases, like fire. If you if you get cold or you have medical problems or you need something where you need to be heated up and constantly have a fire around you, you need multiple ways to make a fire. And you don't have the time, you don't have the energy to sit there and make a bow drill. You don't have the time to sit there and make a basic fire. Nobody does. In this day of age where you can go and buy a 3 lighter pack from the pound shop or the dollar store or the Dollarama, get them because that's instantaneous flame. Yeah, there's only so much you can talk about on the basic essentials. You know what I mean? You can only do so much. Yeah, and that's a thing that people don't understand. when you're going to primitive methods like flint and steel or a cheap ferrocerium rod, you need char cloth for flint and steel. Flint and steel is useless without char cloth. But the thing is it's useless if you don't even have a way to make char cloth also. So it's kind of a double-bladed dagger in old ways to make fire. It, it's just like a bow drill. Okay, you sit there with a bow drill to collect enough dust from the wood to heat it up to make a very, very tiny ember. Then you have to put that in a completed bird's nest of dry tinder, blow that to fire, then put that in the fire and blow that fire to life. That is so many steps for all you need is one good gust of wind or one droplet of sweat to drop off your forehead to put it out. Like, there's these survivalists and preppers and everything that believe 100% in the old ways. That's after. That's after you cook those eggs afterwards, right? But no, we call it a bird's nest because it's the way birds intertwine twigs and leaves and stuff like that together to make a nest, a spot to put something. And after you're done with it and everything, it looks like a clamshell or a bird's nest. And we've stayed with that terminology for the last 1,000 years. It's we survivalists, especially that in school we're taught to follow ways. We're taught to do things a specific way. We are never taught to adapt and overcome obstacles. So it's just like all these big name survivalist channels on YouTube and stuff. you know, I was the same way. I was the same way, Freaky. I kept my head down. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to look stupid for asking something out of the blue or saying the wrong thing. And I guess YouTube is the way that I've learned too much and I have too much bullshit in my head to just sit. I want to take people down the insanity path like me. I want people to think outside the box. I want people to realize that you don't have to give these big box companies so much money to buy something that's going to kill you. because some big name YouTuber told you to go out and buy a silky saw, which is only it's not a two-way cut saw. I hate silky saws. Silky saws are Japanese pruning saws. They are a one pull direction and they snap easy. They're made out of carbon, carbon steel, thin carbon steel. They are expensive. Oh, I know, Freaky. That's why me and you get along so well, brother. But you see so many people that put their life on silky saws. And it's dumb. It's stupid. Most people in a true survival situation is A, either going to break it, or B, they are going to cut themselves wrong with it. Most people don't even know how to use a handsaw. The fundamentals of a survival kit. The true purposes of a survival kit is to get you home, is to make you live another day. It's all good, Freaky. It's all good, brother. The fundamentals of a survival bag. Right? Yeah, it does help. It does help if the volume's up. Yeah. Yep. You can use that. You can use Doritos. You can use any kind of corn chip. That. But the thing is you have to have a fire. You have to have an instantaneous fire to catch a lot of them on fire. You know what I mean? You have to have a lighter to catch those on fire. Yeah. That's what they don't tell you. Yes, it can catch on fire. Yes, it can be used as a tinder source, but you need an instant flame for it. If you have a lighter on you and you caught a Dorito on fire or a corn chip on fire, you can use that as tinder to start your fire without you wasting the fluid in your lighter. It's one of those, fuel saving things, you know what I mean? But most people in a survival situation or anything like that really aren't going to take that stuff, you know what I mean? For wood, try to put a bag of chips or anything in a survival bag without it crushing, without it, popping and, growing stale. Right. Most people in survival situations or whatever, they're not even going to have food on them. Food is a luxury that we abuse. Yep. You can also use a convex bottle with water in it. Right. Everything has its advantages and disadvantages. That's why that's why I say, you use what you know. You use your skill set and how much experience you have with a lot of things. And see, not everywhere has birch, freaky. You know what I mean? Birch is a plentiful resource up north. We do have river birch down here in the south, like in the southern regions like Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, stuff like that. But out here in Texas, we don't have river birch. We we have Spanish oak and cedar. That's all we have, you know. And most of the time we don't even have leaf bearing trees. We have cedar, pine, like pine needles pretty much. You have to look at your biome too. And it's good. You need to know your biome. You need to know where you live. If you don't know what is out there, you're not going to live. You're not going to survive. I mean, something just like knowing birch, knowing what a birch tree is a lifesaver. You can use birch wood for literally anything. You can make bowls out of it. You can use it as a water container. You can you can scrape the inside of it off and you can make it as fire dust. You can also mold that fire dust with that inner bark dust, the birch sap. Use it to seal up wounds. You can use it to glue things. You can patch up holes in your clothes with it. Yep, yep. If you see a weeping willow tree, there's water somewhere. It may be underground. It may be 2 or 3 miles, but it's somewhere near. Hey Sid, how you doing, brother? Yep. There's so many different trees out there with so many different usages. But, you know, and that's the thing. If you know a good amount of basic knowledge of your biome where you're at, or a good handful of trees, a good handful of, wild edibles, you will survive if you're in the right area for that stuff. Yep. Well, cedar may, our red cedar and everything out of near, our red cedar makes fat wood. It takes longer than pine trees to make fat wood, but it has to. A cedar tree has to be fallen for at least 6 months before, and it has to start deteriorating. It has to start falling apart before the center of it turns into fat wood. Right, Sid? I know. I'm thinking about shaving it today. Well, the thing is pine trees can't survive in Texas. They can survive in northern Texas, but not southern Texas, because it's too dry. It's too dry for pine trees. Pine trees need a lot of moisture. Don't do it. All right, Sid. Nah, I've got to shave it off soon, because it's becoming unruly, and with my security and everything, it has to only be a certain length. So I had to be done with it. Nice, Adonir, nice. Yeah, I've got, I've got like 20 cedar trees that's fallen, so I'm just letting them sit and naturally procure as fat wood. But the thing about cedar is cedar burns hot and burns fast, and it's the same thing with their firewood. I mean, with their fat wood. Hey, cat, how you doing, brother? Yeah, and you're lucky to have pine trees around you. When you're building your survival bag, yeah, some Norwegian woods and everything, trees and everything are thick. You know, you have a lot of spruces over there. I know, Sid. I know y'all have a lot of spruces. Spruces are just like pine trees. Evergreen trees are, you know, all the same. It, it's skills. Skills don't real. I mean, skills and knowledge are 50-50 in survival. Knowledge gets manipulated, especially when you're hungry. Skills become tedious and hard when you're hungry and when you're cold. Fine skills, you lose your dexterity and stuff, especially in the cold. Nice. Correct, Freaky. It goes hand in hand, but you know, having the knowledge, having a photographic memory of watching this person on TV do this thing, it may work for that person, but it won't work for you. It's the same thing with a lot of harvesting. We have prickly pears, which are, you know, cacti fruit. They're purple fruits, that but the thing is most people don't understand how you have to cook them, how you have to, collect them. Like they have small little barbs in them. And you have to realize when you're in the wilderness, everything is a hazard to you. Right, Freaky, right. Unless you have the right, unless you have the right things to make it perfect. You know what I mean? The right situation, the right. you know, biome for it. Yeah. But the sad thing is, Sid, 90% of people that's never once set foot in the woods, that has never once, you know, touched grass. Yes. Yes, human. And yes, freaky. Everything everything plays its part. Everything 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 literally is a double-bladed knife once you walk out your front door. When you leave the comfort of your home and you leave the comfort of civilization, there is no safety net out in the woods. Hell, there's hardly a safety net when you go into the city anymore. And see, that's the thing, I came from a climate where I had snow all the time. I came from Tennessee. It snowed. It started to snow in October and ended around February every year. But once I've got here to Texas, it snowed twice in the 10 years that I've been here. There's no wrong wood. I love y'all, fam. So when I tell you how to make a survival bag, realize these three things. It's not food. It's not making sure you have water. And it's not making sure you have shelter. We have overused and abused those three things. They always say, oh, in a survival situation, make sure you got food, water, shelter. No. You make sure you can acquire water and have the ability to hold water and the ability to boil water. Just in that is three things. You have to learn how to track animal tracks to find a good source of water. You have to learn how to filtrate the water. Do you have a bandana? Or are you just going to take off your nappy ass sock that has foot fungus and foot stank in it and filter water through your nasty sock? Or are you going to take off your underwear and filter it through that? Take care, Sid, brother. Hey, Uncle Al, how you doing? And then you have to have an ability to boil water. And that requires fire, right? That acquires the ability to be able to make a fire. Yeah. And that's a thing, freaky. Humans are the most disgusting animal in the world. That's why we have to take baths. That's why we have to wash things, because We wear socks in shoes, in the heat, in the cold. Those socks get dead skin in it, get foot fungus, get everything in it. Yeah. It's the same thing with your underwear. Your underwear still carries feces in it. Still carries, and I'm an open, honest person. You do have pre-ejaculation in your underwear. You know, females, they have a open gap between their legs. Two open gaps between their legs that is constantly producing stuff. So that's another thing that happens. And that's why a lot of females get deathly sick in survival situations. See, everybody's got it different, you know? Like, it's just we overuse and abuse the three things: food, water, shelter, Uncle Al. You know, they don't. We have overused that terminology to like beating a dead horse with a stick. We don't we're not emphasizing, we're not focusing that you need other things to make the three basics in the survival pyramid function. You know, if you're in a real survival situation, most people are not going to have food on them unless they've already pre-packed for the day and are going on a hike or something like that. They may have some trail mix, they may have a sandwich, they may have something, but it's not going to be something that's going to keep them alive for multiple days. Like, one MRE is only good for 24 hours. It will feed one person for 24 hours. Yes. Yes, we do, Uncle Al. We do. We don't break down the survival pyramid to what people believe it should be. And I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of us not discussing what truly goes into the survival pyramid. You know, just water alone. You know, you have to find a way to procure water. You have to find a way to hold water. You have to find a way to cook or boil the water. Then you have to find a way to make the fire to do all that. That is three to four things right there. And today, most people carry a plastic water bottle with them. How many times are you going to use that before you melt the plastic? Yes, you can boil in a plastic jar with water in it. Yes, I know. But it malforms it, it deforms it. And you see that. And after about 4 or 5 boils in it, it breaks. It hardens to a point where it snaps. And how many times do you drink water a day on a normal basis for most people? Most people can't go 6 hours without a drink. So you got a flimsy little plastic, turtle safe, whatever. And now you got to, boil water in it. You get about 5 to 6 times doing that before it shatters on you. Then, do you have, what kind of fire do you have with you? Do you have a ferrocerium rod? Do you, and the thing is, with fire, you need 3 different forms of fire making, depending on how long you're going to be in a survival situation. 1 is instantaneous flame. 2 is continuous flame. And 3 is supported flame. Instantaneous flame is a lighter. Continuous flame is a ferrocerium rod with a good enough heat in it that you know how to strike it and make the fire. And the supportive flame is something like flint and steel, something that you have no skill in, but it still has a form of creating sparks. Oh yeah, well, yeah. Hell, they'll probably die in the middle of the woods holding a dead smartphone trying to find signal. But you have to look at the 3 ways of making fire. Instantaneous. Easy. Instantaneous fire, even African tribes, Amazonian tribes, even the natives in Alaska carry a lighter with them in case they get cold or anything like that, or they fall in the water or whatever. Welcome back, John. Oh, well, welcome back, Freaky. But even indigenous tribes that have no contact whatsoever with the new world still have lighters, because lighters are instant flame, and they worship it like it's a a tool of the gods. Right, Uncle Al, right. Most people can't, and that's the thing. And that's why I say that a lighter, everybody in this world has a lighter anymore because of the way society is now. Everybody smokes. Everybody is 420 friendly. Everybody has a lighter. There should be no damn reason why somebody gets lost or is in a survival situation and freezes to death. Freaky, you need to get one, sir. I mean, I'm just saying, the majority, yeah. Oh, yeah, Uncle. Give me a second. Uno momento. I have one lying around here somewhere. Oh my God, where's my book of matches? Well, I did have a book of matches. Oh, nope, here it is. See my little junk drawer? Huh. See, I've got a book of matches right here. You can pick up a book of matches from any strip club, any gas station. Like this is a QT. Book of matches from there. It's really a QT does this for, escape violence. They'll give a book of matches and everything to a woman, kind of as a safety net thing. But you can ask for a book of matches and they got it. Yeah. Ric Flair. Whoa! But, in this day of age, like I said, you can go to Dollarama, Freaky, and get a 3-pack for $1. But yeah, they can be all found in Dollaramas, dollar stores, whatever, But there should be no reason for anybody to get lost and die of cold, like freezing to death, unless you are in the middle of the Antarctic or somewhere that has no wood. Like, there's trees every fucking where. There's wood everywhere. Sorry, when I hear 411 cases and they find the body 3 months later and they froze to death, I can't accept that. I can't. And see, even cheap lighters fail you. And, it's the same thing. I even have a Bic. Bics fail you too. Bics will. People don't want to say this, but when lighters heat up, they expel their gas. It doesn't matter if it's a Bic, it doesn't matter if it's a cheap whatever lighter. All of them have this in the bottom. You see that? You know what that is? It is a gas release area. When a lighter gets too hot or anything, it will expel gas. It will expel gas out of the back of it. So it does lose the pressure buildup inside of it, so it doesn't explode on you. I hate fucking survivalists that say, "Oh, get a Bic lighter, it'll last forever." No, it won't. It does not last forever. If I hear another survivalist saying that Bic lighters is God's gift to lighting, I'm going to smack them. It's people. No. Oh yeah, Zippos. Zippos. Yes, you have to refill them. I thought you said does Bics need to be refilled? But a lot of people in the survival community is going to kill people. They are going to kill people. And because of misinformation or not, yeah, misinformation pretty much. Yeah. Thanks, Freaky. Thanks for my alphabet lesson. But it's the same thing with Zippos. You can buy a rubberized seal for the bottom of the insert of a Zippo. To Zippos will lose their lighter fluid also over time. It will dry out. Yeah, yeah. The Exotac, that's the electric arc lighter, right, Adonir? Oh yeah, yeah, Uncle Al. Oh, I know. Yeah, like there's so much misinformation in survival because you got some pretty boy or you got some female with big breasts that is that has hard nipples and no bra on doing survival stuff. And those are the people that are going to get people killed with their fake false information. Yeah, it's an electric lighter, freaky. It's called an arc lighter. It's got two electrical beams that go through it. Look it up. Look it up, freaky. They're really cool. They're really really cool. They're USB charged. They've got what is it? It's like 1,800 lights or something like that. Add in here. Yep, you literally could use an Exacto tech lighter to melt through metal. Like it's like an arc welder. Oh, it's a lighter fuel one. Okay, which one am I thinking of? There's one that came out that's like USB charged. Like you can cut through metal and everything with it. Like, dang it. I wanted one for Christmas and everything. Then I saw the prices of them and I was like, no. Nice, nice adding here. That's cool. Yeah, my bad. I was thinking of another lighter brand that kind of sounded like Exacto. Is that Exotech? But there is an arc lighter that has two like electrical beams through it. Yep. There's so many different lighters out there. Like a lighter. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Al. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted a plasma lighter. I wanted one of those damn things. But those things are like expensive, almost like $100. Oh my lord. This boy right here. I have not seen this man. I have put I have put your picture on middle school milk cartons of have you seen this man? Yeah, I know, right? I'm getting old and getting getting grayer. How you been, Chad? How you been, brother? We're just talking survival. We're just talking a lot of stuff, Chad, brother. I was thinking maybe to get my views up and everything, I need to run around in a tank top with, no bra on and hard nipples. Maybe I could get a couple of thousand views. Oh, I understand, Chad. I understand, brother. I'm the same way. How's your cousin? How's our cousin? You still got that? You still got that Bronco? I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Chad. I'm glad to see you, brother. I'm glad you're doing good. I seriously, 100%. We all miss you, brother. We do. We truly miss you. Yep. Life gets in the way. Oh my lord, you got a H1. Nice, nice. You still got the RCs. Have you been glamping? Have you been glamping again, sir? he got a military H1. The civilian military. A Hummer. Freaky, we call where I'm from, we call a Hummer something different, sir. We call a Hummer back in high school and everything. We call a Hummer a quick blowjob. Oh, jeez. Mm. Oh, it was a ride, all right. I'll tell you that. Be like, I just got out of the club and I got me a Hummer. Oh god, that was a back in my life, back in another life. Oh yeah, I know. What are you talking about? You got a full AC unit in your tent, sir. Nice, Sid. Nice. It does, Freaky. It really does. Slang changes so much. That was going on 20 years ago, man. God, 22 years ago. RC and moon pies. RC cola and moon pie. Yeah. I was born and raised where RC cola was made. RC cola, moon pie, and a Coke. You ain't getting no Pepsi around Chattanooga, Tennessee. Mm-mm. You tell Jake I said, hey, y'all take care of yourself, Chad, brother. I got you, brother. I got you. Um, hey Chad, this weekend and everything, I'm doing a survival weekend, and I'm actually going to make a Matthew edited survival video for my channel. Imagine that. With this lovely group of people has helped me make a survival bag that I am going to use out there. Told you, we've all missed you, Chad. Remember that, brother. We still love you, Chad. We still miss you, brother. Just always remember that. Well, I'm not doing I will do an open live and everything while I'm out there, but I'm mostly out there to video and record and everything, and do about maybe an hour long actual edited video. But yeah, it'll be the second and the third, Chad. You be careful out there, brother. We love you. You take care, Freaky. Love you, brother. Take care. But we to go back. I'm sorry. It's been a while since Chad's been here. You know, Chad's one of my brothers, and I will stop. I will stop whatever I'm doing for somebody that I haven't seen in a long time. I will give special acknowledgement to special people that I have not seen that comes in my chat. Like, everybody here is my family. Whether it doesn't matter if we're blood, it doesn't matter what. We are family. And I will recognize you no matter what. And that's what we've gave up on in this world. We have stopped caring about each other. We have stopped acknowledging people. We've stopped boosting people's confidence and telling people that we love them. We have stopped the whole recognition. We need to go back to being a family, looking out for one another, helping each other, teaching each other. That is what my channel is about. That's what I'm on here for, is to help people. Yeah, everything I say is not roses and sunshine, because it's not. It's just like reality. Reality is not roses and sunshine. It's pain, sweat, hate, anger, uncertainty. It's the same thing in a survival situation. It's the same thing in prepping. It's the same thing as living every day. Survival is a more extreme everyday life. Instead of going to a grocery store and trying to figure out what you want to eat and everything, now you have to work for it. Now you actually have to be a hunter. You have to be what our ancestors were. All of our ancestors are rolling in their graves, laughing at this generation, laughing at the last few generations of how pathetic we are, how nurtured we are. We don't know what real pain is. We don't know what real starvation is anymore. Nobody knows what to do if their power goes out. Nobody knows what to do if they can't get on the internet. Nobody can go outside. Nobody even talks to their neighbor anymore. Everybody is a hermit in their own, neighborhood. We eat, sleep, wake up, work, eat, sleep, wake up, work. Because we need that old dinero. It's not. We don't wake up, tend to our fields, look at our livestock, make our own food anymore, grow our own food. We don't even hunt anymore. There's too many restrictions, too many. You have to have this license, and if you get this license, you can't fish this size of fish. You can't fit, you have to put this size of fish back if it doesn't meet standards. There's always something in there, so you cannot be independent. But anyways, sorry about that rant. Let's go back to the fundamentals, the survival triangle. There is more parts to the to the survival triangle than the basic three. There is 4 elements to each part of the triangle. We already discussed the water. Now, food. Okay? In a survival situation, it depends on the situation itself. How did you get lost? How did your weekend trip or your one-day bird watching hike turn into a 3-week survival? You may have packed a small, lunch and a few snacks because you were just going to go out bird watching. All right. You have a sandwich. You have, say, a small baggie of trail mix. You have your water bottle. That's all you need. Now, what do you have? You have your $9.99 Amazon special survival kit. If you even think you needed that. Most people don't even have that. Most people don't even carry a pocket knife anymore. Now you're stuck. How are you going to get food? Well, what do you have on hand? How can you ration that to last? How can you make one day's ration last 3 days? The Spartan diet, all they had was 5 nuts, 5 berries, and one piece of meat. That's all they ate when they were hiking, when they were on the march. Can you do that? Could you survive on 5 nuts, 5 berries, and one piece of meat? And even if you don't have one piece of meat, can you survive on 5 nuts and 5 berries for 24 hours and do work? We don't, we as a civilized, community have abused the ecosystem of food. We need to be full. We don't need, we don't understand the concept of giving your body just enough nutrition to continue on and allow your body to eat into its reserves, eat into the fat that is in there. Your liver holds 25 pounds of fat to be relied on and used at a moment's notice. And then it replenishes that 25 pounds of fat. And yes, I said 25 pounds. That's why your liver is so fatty. Maybe it's grams. Maybe I read it wrong. I think it's grams, 25 grams of fat that it can rely on. I had to relook that up, but don't hold me to that. Don't hold me to pounds or grams yet. But I know it's 25 something. But we have, a huge layer of fat around our body to be relied on also. It's called fat reserves for a reason. Our body still retains fat reserves because that's how our biology was created. You keep fat during winter months when food is not around. So your body relies on that during winter times to eat when you don't have enough protein coming in. Even skinny people still have fat around their stomach, around their ass, around their thighs. Muscle is considered fat and water. That's why your body can last 3 days without water, is because it drains the water from your muscles to re-go into your organs. Then it replenishes it. That's why you see people that were built and all this stuff go on, um, people that were built or heavy set or whatever before they got lost or, on their little survival whatever, then they come back and they're emaciated because their body went to the extreme with their reserves. And they lost 10, 20, 10 or 20 pounds. That's because it went to your fat, it went to your muscles, it went to the water reserves in your body. But food is the same thing. Do you have instantaneous food? Do you have a continuous source of food? And do you have a sub source of food? A continuous source of food is fish or insects or something that you can literally rely on in a moment's notice, that you do not literally have to go and hunt down. Everybody relies on fishing because fishing is that. But what if you don't have a river source by you? What do you do now? Now you find a good area with fallen trees. You find a good area with mounds of dirt. You find good areas that have activity to it. Birds are around. You see animal tracks. You use nature to its advantage. And even if you do have a fishing kit or something like that, you follow birds. Birds will lead you to where food is. And you can't eat everything that birds can eat because they've adapted to eating that specific food. But if you see multiple animals eating from that berry bush or whatever, then you know it's safe. If you see possums eating from it, if you see bears eating from it, you see birds eating from it, you see squirrels eating from it, it is safe to eat. That means a diversity of animals can eat from that one source. And also, you can use that source as trap material too for birds or rodents. It's a two-way street. Food is also bait. That's how you make a continuous food source in a survival situation. You have to kill to eat. I don't care how vegan you are. I'm gonna run and eat grass like a bear. I eat grass like a goat. You ain't gonna live. Because you know what? Animals shit and piss on grass. It's a proven fact. You will get sick from it. You will not get the nutrients that you need to live. Your body takes up more water, and your stomach takes longer and harder, takes more resources to digest vegetables than it does meat. And also, cooked meat. It does the same thing with cooked meat. You have to use more resources in your body to digest cooked meat than raw meat because we were meant to eat raw meat. Vegans will turn back to carnivores in a survival situation. And even if they don't want to, they will. When you're starving, you will eat anything. It's a proven fact. Doesn't matter what it is, you will eat it. And do you have the tools to procure food? Do you have the ability to gut a animal? Do you have the ability to drink fresh blood? Blood is the same thing as water in your body. It gives iron, it gives minerals, everything when you drink fresh blood. you have to understand that you are a human, that you are not in society anymore. You don't live in you're surviving in an uncultured world where it's eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. You have to take that mental picture and assess the situation that you're in. Oh, there's a cute little bunny. Boo, boo, boo. Yeah, that cute little bunny is going in my stomach. I'm sorry. But if you're starving, you will do the exact same thing. Yeah, add in there. You know, we live there's people don't understand. People think that they will be saved, and they don't understand that survival, you have to do the work too. And the people that can't do it, people that can't eat Bambi or eat Thumper or whatever. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care if I smell like high hell after grabbing a skunk. I'm going to eat a skunk. I don't care if I get sprayed. Doesn't bother me. It'll make me sick for a couple of days from the smell. But you know what? That means my scent has changed and predators ain't going to come after me. But that skunk's life is now in my stomach. And, you know, civilization has told us that we can't eat that stuff. We can't eat raccoon. We can't eat possum. You know, it's just like the misinformation about armadillos. You can eat armadillos. You just can't eat the liver or rupture the liver. They prefer you not to rupture the stomach either because of what it eats. But, you know, that's with anything. You don't want to rupture the stomach on anything that you're gutting. That's just a hunting fact. It will, you know, ruin the meat. But you can eat anything. We, as humans, can eat anything. We've been eating everything since the dawn of time. Anything we can get our hands on was going in our stomach. Look at all the tasty dodo bird hamburgers we made. Or, you know, any other animal. But it's just like turtles, you know, any reptiles, we can't, I mean, you can eat it, but the thing is they've got worms and they will give you worms. A lot of things will give you internal, you know, parasites. Turtles have, turtles get parasites under their scales. That's why they tell you to boil turtle. Because it will kill all of the parasites and everything that's under their skin. But they want you to boil turtle while it's alive, like how they do lobsters. The reason why is because with the turtle, boiling, it's moving around. So it's moving around in the water. to clean the scales. And the parasite, when it moves its scales, it opens the scales up, and that boiling water kills the parasite. But the thing is have you ever heard a turtle scream? Yeah. It is worse than any cryptid or supernatural thing that you've ever heard in your life. It is scary. It is. I can still remember hearing snapping turtle screams in my head when I lived in Louisiana. Yeah, it is a god awful scream. It is. But, you know, and it's the same thing, like, if people say, oh, yeah, kill a snake, kill a snake. Have you ever tried to kill a snake? Have you ever tried to kill an aggressive snake? One that's holding its ground? Do you have a big enough knife or a machete or something within reach so you don't get bit? Because here's the thing. Even if it's not a venomous snake, if it is a constrictor snake, it still has teeth. It has holding fangs that holds it, and when it moves its mouth, it grips onto the skin and pulls it deeper into its throat. Those holding fangs have diseases. And if a constrictor snake bites you and holds on to you, it will infect the bite mark. You have to understand the push and shove of every situation. And it's not pretty. It's not. It's not fun. Survival isn't a glamorous thing. So we talked about food. Now, shelter. Shelter is not just a tarp, is not just a tent, is not. It is a combination of everything to keep your body warm, to keep you safe from inclement weather, or cold, or heat, or whatever. First off, it's your clothes. It's your layered system of clothes. That is the first form of your protection to your vital organs. Because here's the thing, when you get too cold or you get too hot, it does damage to your organs. It does damage to everything. If you are too hot, it literally will fry your brain. And you're dead. You're literally a vegetable when your brain fries or gets too hot. Same thing with your organs. Your organs will fail if it's too hot, and it will fail if it's too cold. That's why when you're in a freezing temperatures or stuff like that, you get frostbite, because your blood and everything will start to take away from the areas that it knows it can lose, like your hands and your feet and your legs and your arms, so it can keep your center body warm. You can even get frostbite in your genitalia. You will. your body will lose the parts of the body that it does not deem feasible to keep pumping blood to. It will literally shut it off. Same thing with heat. Your body will shut off sweating if you do not have enough water because it will dehydrate you. Your body tries to save as much water as it can, and you will start sweating out urine instead of sweat. You will start sweating out other things. Then your body will start to close up areas. Your sphincter will start to close up. The tip of your whatever, the tip of your genitalia will start to close up. On females, you will start to dry out. You will, it's so your body has water inside of it for your vital organs. You need to learn how to be able to regulate. And that's another form of shelter. But the thing is also, do you have the tools that you need to set up your shelter? Do you have a permanent shelter, or do you have a makeshift shelter that is only there for one reason? Or a not a makeshift, but a tear down, what they call a tear down, which is something that's just going to fall back into nature after you use it, you know. And here's the thing also, is your shelter's safe. Yeah, if you're in a cold area or whatever, and there's plenty of leaves and underbrush and all this stuff that you can just burrow into and cover yourself and be there all night and stay warm that way. Here's the thing. Underbrush and stuff like that, when you're throwing leaves and everything on a makeshift shelter, guess what's hiding in that stuff? Insects. All over the place. That's not safe for you. You balling up in a temporary shelter for the night, like balling up in a thing of leaves or underbrush or whatever, you're going to run into spiders. You're going to run into centipedes. You're going to run into scorpions. You're going to run into God knows what that's in there. And guess what? They're cold too. Guess who has the heat? You. They will find you their new home. And it's true. Insects will go into every open hole in your body. Bugs will crawl on your nose. Beetles and gnats will try to land in your eyes because it's a wet area. And that's where they will lay eggs. Your mouth is a wet area. How many people sleep with their mouth open? A lot. I don't know the right number, but a lot of people sleep with their mouth open. Sleeping with your mouth open in the wilderness is begging for something to crawl in. Same thing with your nostrils. Nostrils is the easiest way for anything to crawl into it and up into your sinus cavities. There's people in India that sleep in the slums of India that get, what is it? Biting gnats, some kind of biting fly bug, kind of like a horsefly or whatever. They will lay their eggs inside your nostrils. And there's hundreds of people that literally have to go and get these maggots taken out of their nose. There's bot flies. Bot flies are all over the swamps, all over disgusting areas of foliage, like rotting, decaying areas. And if you don't know what a botfly is, look up botfly maggot extraction from animals, from cats, from dogs that live out in the woods or out in project areas or out in the swamp. They leave about a quarter-size hole, well, more of a dime-size hole, wherever they are in your body. You have to dig into it with tweezers and grab it and pull it out. It's probably about that big, maybe a little bit bigger. And they're fat. And guess what? Now you're in the wilderness. You've got a dime-sized hole in any of your, anywhere. You don't have the medicine. You don't have gauze. You don't have any of the stuff to pack that wound with. Now you're pulling out. Now it's getting infected because that botfly larva is eating away at your flesh. And it doesn't take that long. It does not take that long. I think it takes 3 days for a botfly egg to hatch. And then it starts. I think after a week, it creates that hole, so it has an escape route in it. Shelter is not just clothing. Shelter is not just a roof to put over your head. It's not a tarp. Shelter is the protection of your body. That is the purpose of the term shelter, is to protect your body. Because this is your shelter. You are your own walking house. You store all your organs in it, all your blood's in it. What keeps you alive is inside of you. So you have to figure a way out to protect everything in your body. We bastardize the survival triangle. We bastardize wording all the time because nobody wants the truth. No, everybody is afraid of the truth. I don't understand it. People don't want to realize reality, and reality in nature is death. If everybody was a survival hero, like the dude that got his arm caught rock climbing in an area that he shouldn't be in. He had to cut his freaking arm off with a Swiss Army knife. Oh, such a tough dude. He wouldn't have been in that situation if he didn't. I mean, if he followed the rules, if he knew the area that he was going to, if he wasn't a dick. And now, they make a book about him. They make a movie about him. No, it is not that glamorized. It is not glamorized. Look at every other survival situation that's happened to other people. They will tell you the same thing. They will tell you that it is not glamorous. It is not. Les Stroud did an interview and everything with some people in North Carolina that were trapped mushroom hunting. Okay? It was a husband and wife in their 60s and their son that was in his 20s. They went mushroom hunting, and the father's back gave out on him in the middle of wherever. And he was a heavy man. He was probably about 280, almost 300 pounds. Then the wife tried picking him up and tried to carry him or drag him, and she screwed up her leg. And then the son ended up hurting himself trying to rescue his mom and dad. And it went downhill from there because they had no food. They had nothing. They didn't even take anything because they just thought, oh, it's going to be a 3-hour, there's a 3-hour mushroom hunt. They didn't take anything with them. And, 2 weeks later, they finally get found by the park rangers. Things happened. Like, it's not glamorous. It's not. It is. People, TV and everything make it seem so lone wolf and hero and savior like. But the thing is, it's not. You have things like The Walking Dead, and you have all this stuff like end of time, whatever. And or you're doing a survival thing like that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, where he was a mountain man, hunter, or whatever, during, the Western days. You're not Leonardo DiCaprio. You're not that guy. You're not the real person that he portrayed it as. Yes, Revenant. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, brother. That movie. You are not Revenant. You're not that character. Nobody is that character because you know what? That was a different time when people actually had, not Planet Fitness muscles, where people actually had real strength, real courage, real fortitude. And it was a different time. It was a whole entire different time. he had the ability to withstand extreme colds because of his fur, all that stuff. Actual real animal fur that was made to like Alaskan mucklucks. You know, they're made out of real seal skin and real elk skin because animals evolved to be water resistant and all that stuff. We do not have that. We are the only species of animal on this earth that has no real adaptations to help us. We have hair in only certain parts of our body. We have no water resistance. We absorb water when we get wet. We have no night vision. We have no enhanced smell. We have no enhanced hearing. Most children don't even have incisor canines anymore. We should not have evolved the way we did. It's a miracle that we can still even handle today's standards of cold. We are very vulnerable. We could be killed at a moment's notice. Our bodies will betray us to save itself. Our bodies are constantly fighting off sicknesses, so many sicknesses that we get every second of the day. If we didn't have modern medicine, and you won't have modern medicine in a survival situation, all these herbalists, naturalists, fuckers, and everything saying, "Oh yeah, you can make this tonic, you can do this, you can heal yourself with that." It's not an end all be all that will end you instantly. I mean, that will heal you instantly. You have to of it, and then you have to wait on it to purify, to cure, to take effect. You will be dead before the medicine kicks in. We don't have the fortitude that we used to have when we were, or like our ancestors did. We don't. Because they were fighting against nature. They were fighting with everyday sicknesses and everything, to where we don't. That's another account. That's another reason why people die in survival situations. is because we don't have the endurance. We don't have the fortitude. We don't have the resilience of our ancestors. Look at the Norwegians now. And look at their ancestors. Look at the Scottish ancestors. Look at them now. It was, Wally. It really was. How you doing, brother? Even my Native American ancestors on my dad's side of the family, I don't have their fortitude. I don't have their endurance. And I'm half Scottish too, because of my mom's side. I don't have their fortitude. I don't have their endurance. We are not our ancestors. We're not. You can't take the mindset of something from 300 to 400 years ago and put it to today. You can't. Survival today is different than survival 400 years ago. I understand, brother. I truly understand that. And the last hour is always the longest. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My dad, and my dad's side of the family is all full-blooded Cherokee. And me, I am a mutt. Half Scottish, half Cherokee. But I'm glad, brother. I'm glad. That's why everybody's my brother. You know? Survival today is with what we have today. You have to, and it's something that nobody is going to just pick up and be a master of. Nobody. I can understand, Wally. I can understand, brother. You know, we it's nice to learn of our past. It's nice to know these tips and tricks from the past. It is. But in today is not yesterday. You know, it's just like, you know, there's gear and everything that you can find from years ago. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At near the last hour feels like forever. It really does. Like you're counting down the minutes, like the last school bell. You know, like we were counting down the minutes, and it just like kept going. And you know, speaking of time, you don't understand how long 24 hours is in the wilderness alone. Time in the wilderness slows down. It slows down completely. Days get longer. Nights get extremely slow and extremely colder. If you think you're cold right now, wait until you're at night in the woods alone with inadequate equipment, inadequate sleeping gear. When you're sitting there in your pile of leaves or your stick hut and you got that wind coming in on you, or you have the rain coming in, it gets colder. It gets deathly cold. You know how it is when you shake when you have a fever? By 10. And that whole thing of, oh, jog in place, do something, get your blood flow. You don't want to do that when you're starving. You don't want to do that when you're freezing. You don't want to move. You want to ball up and you want to cry because you are cold. You are cold to the bone. And you have nothing. You have no bed. You have no heat. You have nothing. That's the true fears, and that's the true draining experience. That's why when you're in a survival situation, you don't get sleep, is because nature comes in. Nature takes its toll on you. Nature will kick your ass and ask you if you want seconds. I may sound like I sound like a bad person. I sound like that survival is bad. I'm not. I right, right, Wally, right. You know, I'm a reality. I'm a realist. I'm not going to paint a pretty picture to anybody in this, but it will happen. It will happen, and you need people need to realize that. People need to realize that this perfect world ain't going to last much longer. It's not, especially in this day of age. Look how quickly civilization fell in the 20s. You don't think it's going to happen again? If you think it's not going to happen again, you're living a delusional life. I'm not saying that it's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just saying it will happen. I'm not a doomsayer. But you have to look at reality. You have to wake up. You have to suck it up. You have to trudge on. You have to adapt. Hey, it a camping trip can turn into a survival situation, Wally. There is no difference in camping and survival. There, there's not. If you're camping and you have inadequate gear, you feel that. Yeah. I mean, when you're in nature, camping or whatever, if you don't if you don't have the right gear, if you have inadequate gear, if your gear sucks, you feel it. You feel it. You could get, I was camping and doing survival and all this stuff when I was 12 years old. And you know all I had? I had a army surplus store. I got the hand-me-down specials from that army store that were already beat, abused, and used from World War II and the Korean War and Vietnam that was missing parts to it, that the pup tent that I had to go and cut a stick down to be the support beam in it. It didn't even have the waterproof barrier on it. So if it didn't have, I mean, if there was any kind of rain throughout the night or whatever, I got soaked because it came through the tent. I had a fleece liner that I used as a sleeping bag. It was a fleece sleeping bag liner for the military that I that didn't come with the sleeping bag. So I just used it as a sleeping bag. Like, try camping in 10 or 12 degrees in the snow with a fleece liner on. Yeah, it's cold. That's when I learned how to pee in a water bottle and keep it close to my chest. And after it got cold, you dumped it out and peed in it again to reheat yourself. Like, I was young then. I was 12. I could withstand that stuff then. Yeah, I had an air. Yeah. You know, I could go, you know, when I was young, when I was 12 years old, I could go down to the Army surplus and I could buy World War II, Vietnam, Korean War, and Vietnam era stuff for pennies on the for pennies on the dollar. I could go down there with my $20 allowance that I got a week, from working and everything, cutting the grass and stuff, and I could go down there and walk out, fully loaded. Hey, what's up, Skies, brother? Like, I got my, and the guy that ran the surplus shop and everything, he also ran a flea market thing. So he sold like Pakistani knives and some cheap cut, cheap knockoff knives and all this stuff. And I bought one of those old Pakistani wooden handle and brass, wood and brass boot knives for $2 from him. He bought it for like 50 cents and sold it to me for $2. you can't do that now. You can't go to an Army surplus and buy that stuff for that cheap anymore. You can't. All Army surplus stores and everything are 90% big box store items or something that they bought off of Amazon to sell in their store, or name brand knives, because the Army is not giving their surplus away anymore. You know, they don't do that. I heard that I went last time I went to the Army surplus here. They said that all military personnel are required to return in their military stuff unless they bought it themselves. So it's like they're still reusing everything. You know, you can go on Amazon or eBay to a lot of these European Army surplus and still buy good quality stuff. Good quality, you know, European Army stuff. But all right, everybody. My work is calling me. Okay, everybody. I've got to get off here. I love y'all. I'm sorry about this, but we'll start. You know, we'll start doing this. You know, we'll start doing this either every morning. It may be morning some days. Morning some days and evening some days. But I love you all. You take care of yourselves. I'm sorry, Skies. I'm sorry, but I gotta contact my work. I've got to see what they're doing. But I love y'all. You take care of your family. I'll see y'all on the next one. Doodles.